Hi everyone, welcome to my next instalment from the RetroX mini guide series. This one we're going to actually play some games, so show you how to play the game, what's going to happen, a couple of different things you can change, some settings. So yeah, let's jump straight in. So this is where we got to before. We've done the install. We've added a handful of games, as you can see in front of you, and now let's actually go and play some. So obviously this is showing all every single system. I haven't necessarily got games for all of these, so there's a setting which I think I showed in the other video, but I like to put it on just so it's easier to navigate. So you go into settings, then display settings, user interface, include systems without games. So you'll notice that yes, it's going to show every single system whether I've got games or not. If I change that to no, and then head back, go to the system again, and now it only shows systems that I've got games for. So we're going to go into Sega Genesis, Sega Mega Drive, and let's go for some good old Sonic the Hedgehog. So a couple of games we've got here, and here's the main game loaded. You know, you've got the screen, you have the screenshots, the information like I said before. All this is added automatically by RetroX. It's all, you know, information that's stored on RetroX servers, and it's downloaded once you add the game. So once you click play, it will say, right, this is the first time you've run this game, or you know, a game for this system. So I'm going to go and download the emulator for it. So you click download. They're fairly small, so they're fairly, you know, fairly quick. Like I say, I'm going to do it all in real time, just so you can see how, you know, how quick it is, how easy. So it's now going to go and attempt to do the actual Android install. So this might look slightly different depending on what version of Android you got, but you click install, click done, and that's it, done. I don't know if you can hear that, but there's some background music playing. That's the default option, and I will turn it off just for here. So if we go to display settings, background music, and we'll pick no music. I'm not sure if that came through on the recording. I'll find out in a minute. But anyway, that's the background music. You can pick. There's a whole bunch of. Obviously, this will probably be a subject of a different video, but there's a whole bunch of different music that comes with RetroX, and you can pick them, or you can, you know, pick none or pick random, and you can add your own music, which we can also, I'll show in another video. But like I say, by default it's on, so when you do the first install you'll probably get some background music, but you know, also you can keep it, you can turn it on or off, you can change the volume between soft, medium and full, but just for this I'll turn it off so it doesn't interrupt. So let's go back to the game, and now it's installed the emulator. We click play, and it launches. Just like that. So I will quickly press start. See how bad I am at Sonic. Obviously not going for the high score. Oh, I missed the ring. Anyway, you get the idea. And then to exit the game you hit select and start, or back and start, what you have on your controller. and you bring up the menu here. So there's a few different options here which I'll I'll cover now. So you hear that? This is where I mentioned before about the cloud save state. So here you can save a state. So I can save where I am. I've got all empty slots there, so I'll click the first slot, and now that's saved. So if I now go load slot, obviously I've come away, I've closed the game, I've reopened it again. I can load this state and it'll take me back exactly where I was. And like I say, this is now saved to the cloud. So if I then go up onto my phone, tablet, other device, whatever, this save state will be there, and I can carry on where I left off, which is a really, really neat feature. And that's one of the things that that you're paying for when you buy RetroX. I know there's lots of other alternatives. Some are free, some aren't, and you're paying for what you get. That's just one great feature. There's a whole more which we'll come on to in later videos, but that's a really, really good feature. So there is cheats, which I haven't really played with, but you can enable cheats in various games that support them. I think most of them do. Things like infinite lives, infinite energy, that kind of stuff. But to exit the game, you just come down to quit, and it goes back. And then if we go back to, say, let's go for Final Burn. Let's go for some arcade action. Street Fighter 3, Third Strike, one of my favourites. So again, I need some. First time I run this, so it's going to download the emulator. So again, it's all seamless, all automatic. You don't need to know what emulator to download, what version, etc. Just works, which is, like I say, the beauty. For arcade games, you hit the select button, put your credits in. Once you hit start.
Welcome to the world of Street Fighter 3. Prepare for battle. I got the picture. Yeah. Well, I got the picture. Into the heat of battle. Go for it.
Anyway, you don't want to sit there and watch me play. Sorry, I got carried away there. Yeah, so that's you can see how easy it is now. So now we've got the emulator installed for Mega Drive and for Final Burn. I can now go to one of these other games and they'll just launch straight away because I've already got the emulator. This is a screen you get each time you start the game. You can turn this on or off if you don't want it. It's just a hint, it tells you what the controls are. I tend to keep it on. You'll probably notice on here there's a slight blue haze to the screen. That won't happen on your system. This is just because I'm running in on a virtual machine. There's a slightly weird thing that happens. Nothing to do with RetroX. All my fault. So you see, yeah, it starts. Anyway, you get the idea. Once you've done this all the emulator once, it's done. That's it. I was going to say no there. So that's how easy it is to get up and running. So all we've done the install and activated RetroX. We've added some games. We've gone to launch them. It's auto-installed the emulator, and now we're done. From here you can carry on and play your games. But like I say, I will show you a few other options that you can change. So you might have noticed there where the picture wasn't quite full screen, you have the pictures down either side of the screen. That's the that's what I'm going to show you here. So you go into settings and go to display settings, and you've got borders. So at the moment it was set to static background and set to blue, but built in there's a whole bunch of backgrounds. So basically these will appear sort of a strip either side depending on how big the picture is. For a different emulator, you'll get all these different backgrounds that you can that you can pick. So let's pick one just so you can see it in action. And the blocks one's quite obvious. So static background blocks. So if I now go back, if I quickly play let's go for this one again. Sorry, I clicked out the window by mistake. So if we play this game now, remember we set the the borders to the blocks. So it's quite obvious. So it basically just, you know, it's a nice way of filling what would be blank space at the side. So we've done that now. That's kind of the basic one. So now if we go back into the settings again, go to display settings, borders. There's other types, so you can turn them off altogether, or just, you know, basically effectively black either side. Static background is what we just had. There's live borders, and this is, I'll leave that on the defaults. Come back, launch the game again, and you'll see it kind of blurs the edge of the screen. Looks, you know, it's quite a nice effect. So we'll just play this quickly, and you'll see that. It basically takes the image from the centre of the screen and sort of blurs to the outside. So yeah, it looks quite nice. That's a nice option. Yeah, it's just, you know, a way to, like I say, feel the edge of the screen. So let's come back out of the main screen. Not too far. Just go back in again. Display settings, borders. So now, like I say, the other one is Bezels, and you may or may not have heard of the Bezel project, which is a project the guys started online. It's basically a whole collection of bezels for pretty much every single system, every single game that they possibly can. And what Franco's done is integrated that into RetroX. So what you can do is basically set a bezel per system or per game. So we're playing Final Burn here. You do per system. It'll download a bezel that's, you know, like an arcade bezel, and you have the same one for every single arcade game. Or you can do per game, and if it can find one, it will find a bezel for that particular game. So let's do the game one, because that's, I guess, slightly a bit more impressive. Recently played. Let's go launch it again. And see, it's got the 64th Street bezel, and the little sort of around the outside little TV screen as well. So yeah. Now just another example. Let's go back to one of the other systems. Right, keep going back too far. Let's go back to the Genesis again. Fire up Sonic. And there we go. Let's download the Sonic bezel. So yeah, really good. That's probably one of my favourites, I think. It just gives it that extra bit of style. So yeah, that's the bezels. There's a whole other features we can go into around various bits and pieces, but obviously I'll probably save those for other videos. Well, I would finish off this one by mentioning some of the buttons you've got along here on the bottom when you go to the game. You've obviously got this one, which is favourites. You can add, remove a game from your favourites. Right, tick in the box there. So you'll notice then if you go back here, you've got a collection called your favourites. So you go in there and it will show ones you've picked as your favourite, funny enough. That's obviously for that system. If you went to home and clicked on your favourite, it shows your favourites across all systems, not just when you're in. So yeah, it knows what view you're in and applies your favourites. And then other things you can do while you're in the game, you can give it the thumbs up, thumbs down, sort of vote for it, and the idea is that other people can see that and they see the rating, and so you can upvote games. These two buttons here are around settings, so you can add it. The plus button lets you add to a collection, but I think obviously collections we can go into a bit more detail again in another video. And then the cog is basically settings. You shouldn't really need to change anything in here, but you can do things like, so we've been playing in 4:3. You can say stretch fit screen. If you do that, obviously you won't see any bezels. It'll stretch the image to full screen, which some people like, some people don't. Some people like playing in the original aspect ratio. Others, you can set it to one by one as well. A few other bits. If some systems have more than one emulator available, so Mega Drive, Master System, sort of Sega stuff tends to use the Pico drive, but it's also got the Genesis Plus, so you can switch between emulators. If you find a game doesn't work in one emulator, you can fix the other. And there's settings for the specific game itself as well, which is nice. You can change the number of buttons, etc. This is more if you're using an on-screen keyboard. Me, this is running the PC. I've got a Bluetooth controller plugged in, so you don't see it. But if you're on a phone or tablet, touchscreen device, and you didn't have a controller connected, you'd get an on-screen layout for the buttons and control, etc. And one thing to mention on that is if you're using the touchscreen, you've got touchscreen buttons, then you can't use the bezels because they're both sort of screen overlays, and you can only have one or the other. So if you're on a handheld device, let's say phone, tablet, and you want to try and use bezels, you'll find that you won't be able to, because you need to be able to display the buttons, and they're there instead of the bezel basically. So just something to be aware of. I think there's one more option in here. Yeah, so this is render type, which I mentioned. Probably come into a bit more later on, but basically you can apply different effects to the screen. And you might have noticed there that I had the scan lines when I was playing a couple of those games, and that's to try and make it look a bit more like an old CRT screen, because you'll find a lot of the older games, like the Final Burn games, they're actually, the graphics are designed to take into account the old scan lines from the old CRT screens. So it's a bit difficult to explain, but it basically, the scan lines makes it look more authentic and makes the graphics and sprites look how they were designed to be seen on an old screen. Some people like a more modern, crisp view, get the HD view of the game, which you can do, or other people like to go the other way and apply different renders and different filters to make it look like you're playing an old TV, and give it that whole sort of retro feel. So, but we'll come on to another video again, because there's lots of options there. But I just wanted to point out the options, sorry, while we're in the screen. So that's pretty much it for playing games. Like I say, it's really easy. You pick the game you want. If it's the first time you run it, it'll install the emulator, and then from that point on, you're good to go. And likewise, if there's an update to the emulator that's pushed, it will then download the newer version next time you play it. And again, all automated. You don't have to do anything. Just click next, and away you go. So that's pretty much it for the video. A little bit longer than I anticipated, but that's pretty much how you get up and run playing games and enjoying RetroX. So thank you for watching, if you have watched, and please like the video if you liked it, and obviously subscribe. That really helped me, and I'll be back very soon with some more videos. Thank you. Bye bye.